This is David Triana, and we are with Conexion on the Streets with Elizabeth Ricci at the offices of Rambana and Ricci in South Tallahassee. How are you doing, Elizabeth?
I'm well, thank you. It's nice to finally meet you.
Nice meeting you. It's one of the things that we try to do with our publication, Conexion, and our entire concept of reaching out to the customers, number one, to thank them for helping us, for being with us, and also the opportunity for you to talk through the video, which is the hot format right now and out there about what you all do. So that's what we were sitting with Elizabeth today to tell us about Rambana Ricci, your office. What do you do?
Sure. Well, we're immigration attorneys. My partner is my husband, Neil St. John Rambana, and we've been practicing for about 17 years only in immigration. We don't do anything else. And it gives us the opportunity to really focus on one particular very dynamic area of law. A study came out a while ago that said immigration is more complicated than tax law. So we don't really want to have too many areas. Immigration, and then within immigration we have our own concentrations. He does deportation defense. And I pretty much do everything else. The administrative type of immigration, the family immigration, business immigration, and then I do some kind of unique things for people, for example, Jehovah's Witnesses who don't take the oath of allegiance, people who are victims of crime. I do delayed birth certificates for people who were born at home with a midwife and never got a birth certificate. That's becoming a big problem right now.
Yes, so a great variety of service for people of all backgrounds because this obviously Tallahassee is a very multicultural community, and people from the entire world here, don't you?
It's surprising, but you know what? Our practice is nationwide. We have people all over the country.
Wow.
We're just based here. We have a brick and mortar place that we can come to, but most of my clients I've actually never even met. I deal with them via email, phone, and Skype.
Wow, the power of the internet,
It's
the power of technology, and
Absolutely.
just an amazing
Changed
thing.
everything.
It does, and you're able to serve people from that are not necessarily here with you, in person. Tell us a little bit about this appointment that you recently received from President Trump.
Well, it was very exciting. I've been working on it for about a year, and then last Monday in the mail I got a big envelope, and usually big envelopes have good things in them. So I was excited to see that. I was appointed by the President to the Selective Service System Board. So what that means is if there is ever a draft, that I would help decide who in our area would be included and who would be excluded.
Wow, and I know you're renowned nationally, obviously, because you serve people throughout the United States. But you've been in some of the national TV shows, and
also regarding the military. So that's kind of one of my niches. I concentrate on veterans work. So a lot of people don't realize that military service does not convey citizenship.
Right.
We have 640,000 foreign-born vets alive today. Many of them mistakenly believe that they're citizens, and they don't find out until it's time to renew a license or get a passport, and that's where I come into play. I have several cases right now, and I don't even charge for those cases. Just something I do as a service because of their service.
And I know she's also a contributor to our publication, Conexion. When your time allows, I know, because you're a very busy person, you recently wrote an article about that, the MAVNI. What does that stand for?
That stands for Military Accessions Vital to the National Interest. So it was a Department of Defense program to recruit people from other countries, even if they were here undocumented. If they had special skills, language skills, technology, engineering, medical skills, they could go from whatever their status was to U.S. citizen in 10 weeks.
Wow.
But it didn't happen, and we have about 10,000 people enlisted, many of whom have been discharged, and most of whom are in limbo.
I recently read a story about that, an unfortunate story about a young lady. I think she was of Chinese descent or something that was turned down, I guess, after she had applied or was already in the program, I believe. Why is it not working, or why did it not work?
Well, the Department of Defense is claiming that there are security concerns, even though most of these people have already gone through very stringent background checks in the private sector. We're talking about pilots who have gone through security check after security check after security check.
Oh, wow.
So what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, MAVNI, the NI stands for National Interest. I have something that I do called National Interest Waiver. You don't get citizenship in 10 weeks, but if you're approved, you can get permanent residency in 6 to 7 months for the I-140, and then you're on the road for the green card shortly thereafter. And I say, we've already won the point about our work being in the national interest by nature of being accepted into that program. The name is national interest.
Right.
So then we have to prove a few other things like an advanced degree and what the person's intentions are.
Understood.
And if we can prove those things, they don't need to wait for MAPNY's decision. They can get the green card on their own. It's self-sponsored green card. But it's not just for people in the military. If anyone has an advanced degree and is well positioned to do their work, if that work is of national importance and has substantial merit, and we can argue in good faith that the labor certification process, it's a multi-year process, should be waived, they can also apply.
Understand. That's like a very interesting program. Myself as a retired military person, I know the importance of such people and programs that have abilities of national interest,
we need
language
that to keep America great.
Exactly. So a very important program. Are there any other major issues that are out there to talk about? I know there's DACA issues. Obviously, everybody's wanting to know what's going on.
So DACA right now is still in place. You can still renew if you already have DACA. You just can no longer do the travel document, and you can't apply for an initial DACA. So if you hadn't done it for whatever reason and had waited, we can't do it now. You can only renew. And if you didn't do the travel document, it's also too late, which is a pity because if you had done the travel document and re-entered legally, that would have opened doors to you in the future for being able to legalize permanently.
What can you also tell us about TSP?
TPS for temporary protective status.
Temporary protective status. I got the acronym the wrong way.
Right.
The
TPS,
Spanish version of the acronym.
I understand. So TPS, temporary protective status in English, is tenuous at best right now. So it looks like it's being terminated for most categories, especially for those from Latin America. It'll be really interesting to see how that's going to play out if it indeed is terminated, because these people have deep roots in this country, families, businesses, and they can't get TPS if they have serious criminal histories. So to terminate them just because of a condition improving in the home country after 20 years, and a lot of these people from Honduras came after Hurricane Mitch, that's 20 years ago. So it's going to have a negative effect on our economy, aside from the effect of the people's families.
Yeah, the personal effects on the family, the children. A lot of those kids obviously are American. They're born here. They're American more than Honduran or Mexican in many ways. Even the families, obviously, the adults have become citizens of this nation. It's very difficult for them to go back. So it's a huge effect emotionally.
We need a holistic fix, and just saying we're ending TPS or we are deporting people who previously had their cases on an administrative closure, that's not going to fix this entire situation. We need something from the top down, and conditions in other countries need to improve too, because what's the need to come to the United States? Sometimes it's because you're fleeing a horrible situation. So until conditions improve elsewhere, and until we have a holistic fix here, we're going to continue to have a problem.
Sure. And a lot of times the issue of immigration is focused on the Hispanic side of the house. Yes, we serve the Hispanic community through our publication, but I know where we hail from, Northwest Florida. There's people from all throughout the world, Eastern Europe and others.
It's easy to have a Hispanic connection. We are a border country with a country that's a Hispanic country. So if we were in Europe, we would have European immigration issues. Just our geography does not lend itself to that. But you're right, we have people from all over the world, not just in Tallahassee, throughout the country, from everywhere. And it's a nation of immigrants, and America is great because of immigration, not despite immigration.
That's the bottom line. So sometimes that's one of the challenges when you're talking to people about the issue of immigration, that they think you're just talking to them because you are a Hispanic person, in my case, or in the case of others that will work with us. And the one thing that we're always trying to enlighten them is this is affecting people of all ethnicities, races, and
there's not a special rule for Mexicans or Venezuelans. This is the immigration system. We have some very few country-specific rules.
And so, what is your outlook on this issue here in the next 3 to 4 years?
Well, November will be very telling with the elections, how people vote. Those who are eligible to should go out and vote what their consciences are telling them. It's a hard time. We'll see what happens after the election. If we can have a holistic fix, I think everyone will be happy. The economy will continue to thrive. Families will be successful, and it can be a win-win for everybody. We'll see.
I think so too. I agree with that. Anything else we'd like to say about your office and your services here? To the,
Well,
people
I
that
want
may be listening to us,
Sure,
watching
thank
us.
you. I want to remind people that if you are detained by immigration, you don't have to sign what they offer you, which is called a stipulated waiver. If you do sign that, then you lose your opportunity to see a judge and ask for an immigration benefit, perhaps asylum or cancellation of removal if you've been here for long enough. So I know it can be intimidating to stand up to a law enforcement officer, but you don't have to sign what you're presented with if you want the opportunity to see a judge. So that's a little public service announcement. Another one is about the military. If a veteran that you know believes that he or she is a citizen, I would ask them, do you have proof of that?
Right.
Because if you don't have proof and you think that you're a citizen just because you served in the military, you're probably not a citizen and have to go through some steps. Again, I don't even charge, and immigration doesn't charge. So there's ways to fix that. And lastly, a lot of people don't realize that if you're a U.S. citizen, you naturalize before your child's 18th birthday, that child is a citizen. And they don't need to naturalize. They need to get a certificate of citizenship, but they're already a citizen. I see so many people who as adults went through their lives not knowing that they were citizens when their parents naturalized. They have to file for the form to get the proof, but they don't have to affirmatively naturalize. So those are the 3 public service announcements I always throw out there when I have the chance.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we're going to embed the website for Rambana and Ricci onto our video here. But what is a good number that people can call you here, if they're from Tallahassee, obviously, but also from other parts of the nation?
Our phone number is 850-224-4529. The website's rambana.com. You can find us on Facebook. And we do a lot of seminars. I was just at a church in Quincy a couple of weeks ago. We do those at no charge, and we have a little session afterwards with questions and answers. So we try to come to you. We have a mobile office too. We have an RV that we converted into an office, and we can come to your church or your civic group instead of having people take off work and come out to Tallahassee.
And we do appreciate that, because that is one of the reasons that we reached out to you when we first came into this area, because she does a lot of community service projects, seminars, and is very involved with the community through those things that you just mentioned. I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to bring up this book called Paloma's Dream, written by Paloma Rambani with Hillary Ring. And tell me about Paloma.
Sure, so Paloma is my daughter. She just turned 13 last week. She was born with a rare visual impairment, and she helped secure over $1 million for kids like her in Florida from the legislature. And since then has had a little bit of issues with kids being mean, but she's also had some great experiences, and she talks about those in a very funny, lighthearted, but also deep way in the book. And she does a lot of speaking around the state. She's going to speak at University of Miami this week, and she's doing an Oasis Center for Girls next month. She'll be in Orlando at the Future for Education Technology in January. So it's been a great experience, and she's handling it very, very maturely. I'm very proud of her.
That's an amazing thing. I see here in the back of her book that says that she was named an everyday hero by O Magazine. And the O, I think, is Oprah Magazine, right?
It's Oprah, yep. Oprah named her a health hero in January of 2018. Mm-hmm.
And this is another wonderful story behind Elizabeth Ricci, because I know that throughout the years we've been keeping up with what your daughter and you obviously have been doing. So her website here, it says palomasdream.org. palomasdream.org. We invite everyone to go to that website and learn more about Paloma and the great stuff that she's doing on behalf of kids with her condition and all kids with special needs, because obviously they have a challenge already, physical or mental sometimes, and more importantly at school and things like that. So it's an educational thing that she's doing, and it's wonderful. Yes, for parents too, for sure. I can attest to that. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for taking the time to talk to us. And we just had a little conversation here with Elizabeth Ricci as part of our Conexion on the Street segment. And please visit her website and learn more about immigration and everything that she does for the great community of Tallahassee.